Marcus Wolf felt a blend of excitement and apprehension as he stepped off the transport shuttle onto the smooth metallic surface of Xanthar Prime's Interstellar Academy. His journey from Earth had been long, but nothing compared to the journey that lay ahead. As the first human to attend this prestigious institution, he carried not just his own aspirations, but also the potential for future human-student exchanges, depending on his performance here. The Academy was a marvel of architectural genius, a collection of towering structures and floating platforms, all interconnected by a network of translucent tubes through which various alien forms could be seen moving. The campus stretched as far as the eye could see, a testament to the galactic cooperation and intellectual pursuit that Xanthar Prime was known for. Upon arrival, Marcus was greeted by Administrator Ylves, a tall, slender being, with iridescent skin and eyes that seemed to change color with her mood. "Welcome, Marcus Wolf. We are pleased and intrigued to include a student from Earth, a planet known for its resilient species," she said, her voice a soothing melody that Marcus found strangely comforting. As they walked through the bustling campus, Marcus couldn't help but feel like an exhibit at times, with heads turning and eyes wide with curiosity. The student body was incredibly diverse, representing species Marcus had only read about in his interstellar species coursework. There were the glyph, beings of crystalline structure that refracted light beautifully as they moved, the Yelma, floating orbs that communicated via pulses of light, and dozens of other species, each more fascinating than the last. The pair made their way to the Central Assembly Hall, where new students gathered for orientation. Marcus was handed a communicator programmed with translation software, the Academy's regulations, his class schedule, and a map of the campus. Ylvis explained, "The communicator will be your guide and helper during your time here. It's programmed to assist you in navigating not just the Academy, but also in understanding and adapting to the many cultures you will encounter here." The assembly hall was filled with chatter in countless languages, some spoken, some telepathic, and others in forms Marcus could hardly identify. As he found a seat among the new arrivals, he realized the true challenge ahead wasn't just academic. It was learning to exist alongside and communicate with what might as well be the most diverse student body in the galaxy. The opening ceremony began with a grand display of lights and sounds, a welcoming from the Dean of the Academy, a serpentine creature named Dr. Quarksthal, who spoke passionately about the Academy's mission to foster peace and understanding across the universe. Here at Xanthar Prime, you will learn not just academic subjects, but the very essence of coexistence and collaboration. Each of you brings a unique perspective that will enrich this learning environment, Dr. Quarksthal announced. Marcus's first day of classes at Xanthar Prime's Interstellar Academy was an eye-opener in every sense. He navigated through the holographic hallways with his communicator in hand, still getting used to the floating directional signs and the soft hum of anti-gravity units that seemed to be everywhere. His first class, Galactic Diplomacy, was in one of the smaller lecture halls designed to accommodate species with various environmental needs. Some students sat in standard seats like his, others floated in gel-filled orbs, and a few were in darkened corners, suited to their light-sensitive biology. He found himself a spot near the front and tried to settle in, pulling out his digital notebook. As the professor, a well-regarded Falarian named Prolex, began discussing the nuances of treaty negotiations between multi-species coalitions, Marcus couldn't help but notice the uneasy glances cast his way. It seemed his reputation as a Deathworlder had preceded him, a term used for inhabitants of planets considered exceptionally dangerous. Earth, with its violent weather, predatory species, and tumultuous history, fit the bill all too well. During the break, a classmate named Tyla, who Marcus recognized as a Phyrexian due to her bioluminescent skin that changed colors with her emotions, approached him cautiously. "Is it true?" She pulsed in a soft blue hue, which his translator indicated was curiosity. "That Earth has over 1 million different species and many are deadly?" Marcus smiled, trying to appear unthreatening. "Yeah, that's true. But it's not as scary as it sounds. We coexist, learn from each other, and find balance." He pulled up an image of a tiger on his device. "This is a tiger, one of the many species who share Earth with us. The colors on Tyla's skin rippled through a spectrum of amazement. Incredible! On Ferrix, we evolved past predators long ago. Our threats are more environmental. Their exchange attracted a small crowd, and Marcus found himself fielding questions about everything from Earth's oceans to its urban landscapes. Each question seemed to peel away a layer of the stigma surrounding him. The myths of Earth's harshness intrigued his peers, turning fear into fascination. Later, in a session on intergalactic law, Marcus discussed Earth's struggle with implementing sustainable practices, comparing them to the universal laws that protected planetary ecologies. His perspective, grounded in dealing with a planet teeming with life and fraught with conflict, provided a fresh viewpoint to his classmates. By the time the classes ended for the day, Marcus felt a subtle shift in his interactions. The initial fear had mellowed, replaced by a budding respect and curiosity. He walked to the dining hall with a group of students, a mix of Yelma, Phyrexians, and a couple of Glerdosians, who were known for their keen analytical minds. As they sat down to eat, a new challenge presented itself. The dining options were as diverse as the student body, ranging from nutrient-rich pastes for the Glerdosians to energy orbs for the Yelma. Marcus opted for something that resembled a Terran salad, albeit with leaves that subtly changed colors. Tyla, still intrigued by Marcus, joined him at the table with her meal of luminescent algae. Marcus, would you say that these interactions, even with all the initial fear, are typical for someone from Earth? I guess, Marcus laughed, picking around his color-changing salad. We're used to being a bit of a mix of everything. But here it's about finding common ground, even when that ground seems like it's from different universes. Simulation tactics was one of the most anticipated courses at the Academy, employing advanced virtual reality to recreate various environmental and combat scenarios. This class was particularly popular because it allowed students to experience and respond to conditions that were otherwise impossible or dangerous to replicate in real life. Today's session was about survival tactics on hostile planets, and the buzz around Marcus intensified as classmates speculated on how a Deathworlder would fare. The instructor, a stern but fair Torvican named Instructor Gelrin, paired the students randomly. Marcus was grouped with a trio of classmates, an agile, tentacled Vortian named Skriel, the reserved and methodical Tila, and a robust, armor-skinned Drellian named Herm. Their mission was to navigate a planet with harsh environmental conditions, ranging from toxic gases to predatory fauna. As the simulation began, the environment around them shifted dramatically. The landscape transformed into a dense, misty jungle with towering trees and thick undergrowth, eerily similar to some of Earth's rainforests. The air was filled with the sounds of distant roars and the rustling of leaves. Herm, accustomed to his planet's arid conditions, struggled with the humidity and reduced visibility. Skriel, on the other hand, deftly maneuvered through the canopy, scouting ahead. Tyla used her bioluminescent signals to help guide the team through darker patches. Marcus took the lead, his senses alert. He recalled his childhood camping trips in the wild back on Earth, which had prepared him well for this kind of scenario. Keep your eyes on the surroundings, not just the path, he advised, pointing out signs of predator activity that the others might miss. As they progressed, an alarm triggered in the simulation, an imminent acid rainstorm, a common danger on the simulated planet, but something Marcus had never actually experienced. The team quickly sought shelter, but the only viable option was a cave that, unfortunately, was currently home to a large, slumbering beast. Herm was for direct confrontation, but Marcus suggested a different approach. Let's try to divert its attention rather than fight. We can use some of these fruits as bait to lure it away, he proposed, drawing from his knowledge of Earth's wildlife behavior. The team worked together to implement his plan. Tyla illuminated the fruits with a pulsing glow to make them more enticing, and Skriel carefully placed them away from their shelter path. As the creature stirred and followed the bait, the team slipped into the cave, just as the first drops of acid rain began to sizzle on the leaves outside. Instructor Gelrin paused the simulation there, and the environment faded away, returning them to the safety of the classroom. Well done, he said, particularly nodding towards Marcus. Your Earth tactics were unconventional but effective. Adaptation and teamwork, that's what survival often comes down to. The class was impressed, particularly Herm, who had initially doubted the humans' capabilities. The success not only boosted Marcus's confidence, but also solidified his role within the group. His classmates now saw him not just as a curiosity from a Deathworld, but as a valuable and resourceful team player. After the triumph in the simulator, Marcus found his niche among his peers. His days flowed into a routine of classes, study groups, and the occasional leisure activities that the Academy offered. It was during one of these less structured times, in the communal eating area, that another aspect of Earth culture sparked unexpected concern among his classmates. It was lunchtime, and Marcus, feeling homesick, decided to prepare a simple Earth dish that reminded him of home. A hearty sandwich with various fillings and, importantly, a generous sprinkling of salt and pepper. As he seasoned his meal, a curious crowd gathered around him, their expressions ranging from curiosity to outright alarm. A young Ziltheran named Kor, who resembled a floating jellyfish with delicate tendrils, was particularly taken aback. "Marcus, isn't that compound toxic?" Kor inquired, his tendrils retracting slightly for emphasis. "I've read that sodium chloride can be harmful to many life forms." Marcus chuckled, realizing the misunderstanding. "It's common salt, safe for humans. I forget that what's normal for me can be strange or dangerous for others here." He held up the salt shaker, offering it to anyone who might want to try a tiny amount. After a brief consultation with their communicators on the toxicity levels of salt, a silicon-based student named Grit decided to take up Marcus's offer. Their body could handle small quantities of various minerals without harm. They tentatively applied a grain of salt to a segment of their meal, analyzing the effect. The result was a flicker of lights across Grit's body, signaling surprise and pleasure. "It changes the charge balance in my nutrient intake." "Intriguing," Grit concluded. This experiment led to a broader discussion about dietary customs across different worlds. Each student shared something from their own culture, whether a food item or an eating habit, that was unique or might seem bizarre to others. Tyla, for instance, explained how her people absorbed nutrients from glowing algae, and Herm talked about consuming mineral-rich stones from his home planet. The conversation took a turn towards the educational as Marcus suggested. "Why don't we organize a cultural night? Everyone could bring something from their planet, food, music, traditional dress. It would be a great way for all of us to learn more about each other in a fun way." The idea was met with enthusiastic approval, and plans were quickly put into motion. The administration supported the initiative, seeing it as an excellent opportunity for fostering intercultural relations and understanding among the student body. As the day of the cultural night approached, excitement buzzed through Xanthar Prime's Interstellar Academy. Banners and holograms announcing the event adorned the hallways, and students chatted eagerly about what they planned to bring and share. Marcus spent the days leading up to the event preparing with his friends, determined to make a strong representation of Earth culture. The venue was the Academy's main hall, transformed into a dazzling display of colors and lights to accommodate the various environmental needs and aesthetic preferences of the attendees. Each participant had a booth or space to showcase their planet's unique traditions, foods, and arts. Marcus set up his area with visuals of Earth's landscapes, samples of music ranging from classical to contemporary, and, of course, a variety of Earth foods, including small, safely edible samples for those who could try them. As the event started, Marcus demonstrated the making of a simple Earth dish, pasta with a tomato-based sauce, explaining each step and the significance of the ingredients. His booth also featured a small area for sports, where he explained the basics of rugby, complete with a holographic demonstration. The contact sport aspect drew mixed reactions. Some were fascinated by the physicality, while others were taken aback by the aggressiveness of the game. Nearby, Tyla showcased the Phyrexian Dance of Colors, a beautiful silent dance where participants communicated emotions and stories through the shifting colors of their skin. It was a stark contrast to the loud and physical human sport, reflecting the peaceful nature of her people. As Marcus mingled and explored other displays, he noticed the variety of reactions to his own booth. A group of Yelma seemed particularly intrigued by the concept of competitive sports, pulsing with bright lights that Marcus had learned to interpret as excitement. However, Avortion approached him with concern in his voice. "Isn't it dangerous promoting such physical confrontation? Our young ones are taught to resolve conflicts through dialogue." Marcus took the question seriously, acknowledging the difference in cultural values. On Earth, sports like rugby aren't just about competition or physicality. They teach teamwork, resilience, and strategy. But I understand it can seem intense. It's not for everyone, and that's okay. The dialogue opened up a deeper conversation about the role of sports in various societies, turning into an impromptu panel discussion. Marcus found himself defending and explaining Earth's cultural norms, while also gaining insights into the more cerebral or spiritually focused traditions of his peers. As the night progressed, the cultural night seemed to evolve from a showcase of traditions into a symposium of philosophical and ethical debates, spurred by the diverse cultural inputs. Marcus felt challenged but invigorated by the discussions, realizing that this was the essence of his education here. Not just learning from books, but from the lived experiences of his classmates from across the galaxy. By the end of the evening, while some of his peers remained skeptical of the rougher aspects of human culture, many more expressed a newfound respect for the diversity and complexity of Earth's societies. Marcus felt a sense of accomplishment. He had not only introduced his world, but had sparked a meaningful exchange of ideas and perspectives. The aftermath of Cultural Night lingered longer than the decorations, which were promptly cleared the following morning. The discussions and occasional heated debates that had sparked during the event continued to echo through the halls and classrooms of Xanthar Prime's Interstellar Academy. While many students found new appreciation for the diverse cultures, others were left uneasy by some of the more confrontational aspects they had witnessed, particularly the human sports. This brewing unrest culminated in a student council meeting, where a formal debate was scheduled to discuss the appropriateness of including Earth's more aggressive cultural practices, like rugby, in the Academy's curriculum and events. Marcus, who had inadvertently become the face of Earth culture, was invited to participate and defend his views. The auditorium was packed on the day of the debate, a testament to the seriousness with which the students treated cultural representation and safety. Marcus stood at the podium, facing a panel of his peers from various species, each representing a faction within the student body. The debate was moderated by Dr. Korchthal, who opened the session with a reminder of the Academy's values of respect, understanding, and peace. The first to speak was a representative from the Glerdosians, a species known for their intellectual prowess and non-confrontational philosophy. While we appreciate the richness of Earth's cultural heritage, the Glerdosian began, adjusting their spectacles, we must consider the impact of exposing our community to sports that glorify physical dominance and conflict. Is this in line with our goals of fostering a peaceful, interstellar community? The auditorium filled with murmurs of agreement and dissent as Marcus took the podium to respond. "Thank you for your perspective," he began, his voice steady despite the flutter of nerves. "Rugby, like many Earth sports, does involve physical contact, but it is also built on a foundation of teamwork, respect for opponents, and strict rules of engagement. It teaches values like resilience, strategy, and unity, traits that are beneficial across cultures and species." Avortion, known for their ethical rigor, posed a challenging question. But isn't it true that such sports can also lead to injury and aggression? How do you justify exposing young learners to such risks? Marcus nodded, acknowledging the concern. That's a valid point. However, all participants in such sports on Earth are willing and informed players. Here, we can offer it as an optional activity with full disclosure of the risks and benefits, allowing students to make their own informed choices. The debate continued with various speakers bringing up points about cultural relativism, the importance of preserving one's heritage while respecting the communal environment, and the potential benefits of integrating challenging Earth sports into the curriculum as learning tools for negotiation and conflict resolution. As the final votes were cast by the Student Council, The decision was more balanced than many had anticipated. The council agreed to introduce Earth sports as a controlled, optional part of the physical education curriculum, coupled with educational workshops on safety and cultural sensitivity. The decision from the student council brought a measure of peace to the academy, but the discussions around cultural integration continued. Marcus found himself more involved in campus life, often approached by students and faculty alike for insights into human culture and its myriad facets. A few weeks later, the academy organized a field trip to a nearby uninhabited planet, intended to be a practical application of their environmental studies course. The planet, named Seren 4, featured a variety of ecosystems, each presenting unique challenges and learning opportunities. Marcus was excited about the trip, viewing it as a chance to showcase human adaptability in unfamiliar terrains. The group, led by Professor Nalmea, a renowned xenobiologist, included students from various disciplines. They were equipped with scanners, environmental suits, and emergency kits. The plan was to explore, collect samples, and conduct real-time research on the planet's flora and fauna. However, shortly after their arrival, while the group was deep in a dense forest analyzing plant life, the sky darkened unexpectedly. Alarmed, Professor Nalmea checked her instruments and announced, "It seems a meteor shower is incoming, much sooner than predicted by our models. We need to find shelter immediately." The students panicked, looking around the unfamiliar landscape fraught with towering vegetation and unknown creatures. Marcus, recalling his training in emergency situations back on Earth, quickly took charge. "Follow me," he shouted over the rising wind. He remembered spotting an overhang of rock formations on their way in, which could provide necessary shelter. Leading the group, Marcus navigated through the thick underbrush, his eyes scanning for the safest path. Behind him, students from species like the Delphoria, who relied heavily on visual cues, struggled to keep pace in the dimming light. Marcus instructed them to link arms, creating a chain that ensured no one was left behind. As they reached the shelter, the first of the meteors streaked across the sky, a brilliant but terrifying spectacle. The group huddled together under the rocky outcrop, watching as fiery trails lit up the twilight. Some of the students were visibly scared, their bodies shaking, while others were fascinated, recording the event with their devices. During the tense moments under the rock, Marcus talked to his peers, explaining natural disasters on Earth and how humans often had to react swiftly to survive. "Back home we have tornadoes, hurricanes, even volcanic eruptions. It's scary, but it teaches you to be prepared, to think on your feet," he explained, trying to calm their nerves. Once the meteor shower passed, and the group confirmed it was safe to proceed, they made their way back to the shuttle. The trip back to the academy was quiet, each student lost in thought over the day's events. Back on Xanthar Prime, the experience of the field trip became a topic of much discussion. Marcus was praised for his leadership and calm during the crisis, and his ability to apply Earth's survival lessons to other environments was recognized as a valuable asset to the group. The successful handling of the unexpected crisis during the field trip significantly altered the perception of Marcus and Earth's customs among the students and faculty at Xanthar Prime's Interstellar Academy. The weeks following the trip saw a noticeable shift in the campus atmosphere. Marcus, once viewed with caution and curiosity, was now increasingly respected as a figure of resilience and practical knowledge. His classmates began to seek him out not just for curiosity about Earth, but for his insights into handling emergencies and adapting to unpredictable conditions. This newfound respect led to an invitation for Marcus to speak at a university-wide seminar on crisis management and survival strategies. The event was well attended, with many students and faculty eager to learn from his experiences. Marcus shared not only his own knowledge, but also how these principles could be adapted to suit different species and environments. During the seminar, Marcus emphasized the importance of preparedness, awareness, and calm decision-making under pressure. He detailed various Earth techniques such as risk assessment, resource management, and emergency response drills, adapting each concept to the diverse needs and abilities of his interstellar audience. His talk was interspersed with interactive simulations, where students could engage in controlled scenarios requiring quick and effective teamwork. His ability to bridge the gap between Earth's often misunderstood Deathworld characteristics and the more cerebral or peaceful cultures of his peers earned him accolades. An esteemed faculty member, Professor Tykel from the Environmental Sciences Department, commented, "Marcus Wolf has demonstrated that the traits developed on Earth, often seen as harsh or aggressive, are in fact invaluable assets when directed appropriately. His leadership during the recent field trip is a testament to this." Following the seminar, Marcus found himself more integrated into the academic community. His suggestions were sought in planning the curriculum for a new interdisciplinary course on environmental and crisis management, which would include practical training modules inspired by his suggestions. Marcus worked closely with faculty from various departments, helping design simulations that were inclusive and beneficial for all species, ensuring that physical abilities, sensory inputs, and environmental needs were considered. The cultural barrier that once seemed so formidable began to erode as Marcus continued to share his experiences and knowledge. Students who were once hesitant to interact with him now approached him for group projects and study sessions. In these smaller, more personal gatherings, Marcus not only taught, but also learned a great deal about his peers' cultures and perspectives. A particularly memorable moment came when a group of students from aquatic planets invited Marcus to join a workshop on underwater crisis management. Despite the initial challenge of adapting to an aquatic environment, Marcus's enthusiastic participation and willingness to learn from others were well received. This workshop not only enhanced his understanding of different environments, but also showed his peers that Earth's resilience could be harmoniously blended with other worldviews. As the academic year at Xanthar Prime's Interstellar Academy drew towards its close, the focus shifted towards the capstone projects, a culmination of the year's learning and interactions. Marcus was chosen as a team leader for one of the most ambitious projects of the session, a multi-species initiative to design comprehensive disaster response protocols. The project was a direct outcome of his seminar on crisis management, influenced by his proactive role in navigating the field trip crisis. Marcus's team was a diverse mix, including members from aquatic, aerial, and terrestrial species, each bringing unique perspectives and skills to the table. The team included Tyla, who had proven her insight into environmental signals, Herm, whose robust physicality and knowledge of structural integrity were invaluable, and Skriel, whose agility and spatial awareness helped in designing evacuation routes and safety measures. Their project aimed not just to address the physical aspects of disaster response, but also to incorporate psychological support systems and communication strategies tailored to the needs of different species. Marcus introduced Earth's use of multi-tiered response strategies, where different teams are responsible for specific tasks like medical aid, firefighting, and rescue operations. He suggested adapting this model to suit interstellar environments, where these tiers could also include specialists for different planetary conditions. During their presentation to the Academy's review board, Marcus led with a detailed simulation showing how their protocols could be implemented in a hypothetical emergency on a neutral planet. The simulation included real-time data feeds, hypothetical response times, and visualizations of resource allocations. Marcus's effective communication and leadership kept the presentation engaging and informative. The board was particularly impressed with the project's inclusivity. One board member, a distinguished professor from a gas giant planet, noted, "Your team has effectively demonstrated how diverse capabilities, when orchestrated with understanding and precision, can achieve superior outcomes. The adaptability of your protocols is commendable." Following the presentation, the project received the Academy's prestigious Innovation Award, recognizing their creative approach and potential impact on future interstellar disaster response methods. The success of the project bolstered the Academy's mission to prepare students for real-world challenges, reinforcing the importance of interdisciplinary and multicultural cooperation. For Marcus, the project was not just a professional triumph, but a personal one as well. It was a testament to his growth over the academic year, From a solitary human student to a leader capable of uniting a varied group towards a common goal. The project's success also reflected the change in his peers' perception, from viewing Earth's Deathworld background as a curiosity or even a liability, to appreciating it as a source of valuable insights and strategies. Celebrating their success, Marcus and his team gathered in the campus gardens, sharing their hopes for the future and discussing potential, real-world applications of their project. Conversations flowed around future collaborations and the possibilities of internships and job placements that could arise from their award-winning work. The day of graduation at Xanthar Prime's Interstellar Academy was a spectacle of joy, pride, and a kaleidoscope of emotions for students and faculty alike. The campus was alive with the energy of accomplishment and the bittersweetness of farewells. Decorations in myriad colors and materials, reflecting the diverse heritage of the student body, adorned the main auditorium where the ceremony was to be held. Marcus, dressed in the traditional robes that bore the colors of Earth, vibrant blues and greens, stood among his peers, each in their own culturally significant attire. The atmosphere was electric, each graduate aware of their journey and the bridges they had built to get to this moment. As the ceremony began, representatives from various species took to the podium to deliver speeches that were reflective and forward-looking. The dean of the academy, Dr. Quartz gave an inspiring speech about the academy's role in shaping leaders for a better galaxy. Today, we send out into the universe a new generation of leaders, thinkers, and peacemakers, she declared, her voice resonating through the hall. When Marcus was called to the stage to deliver the valedictorian speech, a hush fell over the crowd. He walked up, each step measured and filled with the gravity of the moment. He began by thanking the faculty and his fellow students for the rich tapestry of experiences they had woven together. In our time here, we've faced challenges both academic and personal, engaged in debates that stretched our minds, and collaborated across worlds to solve complex problems, Marcus started, his voice clear and confident. We learned that our differences, while vast, are the very source of our strength. From crisis management on alien terrains to fostering dialogue between contrasting cultures, we've grown not just in knowledge, but in wisdom. Marcus shared anecdotes from their adventures, including the crisis during the field trip and the cultural night debates, highlighting how these experiences taught them resilience and understanding. He talked about the importance of seeing challenges as opportunities to learn and grow together. As we step forward into our futures, may we carry with us the lessons of cooperation, the spirit of inquiry, and the courage to face the unknown with an open mind and a willing heart, he continued. Let us be ambassadors of our cultures, advocates for peace, and architects of a future where the galaxy is a little smaller because of our efforts to understand one another. His speech was met with roaring applause and cheering, resonating not just in the auditorium, but also in the hearts of all who were present. It was a moment of validation for Marcus, seeing how his journey from an outsider to a respected leader had come full circle. After the ceremony, the graduates mingled, exchanging contacts and promises to stay in touch. Marcus found himself surrounded by friends and faculty, each expressing their admiration and hopes for his future endeavors. The farewells were filled with laughter, shared memories, and the occasional tear as everyone prepared to depart to their respective corners of the universe. As the shuttle carrying Marcus and several other graduates ascended from Xanthar Prime's surface, the emotion in the cabin was palpable. Each student was processing the culmination of years of hard work and the uncertainty and excitement of what lay ahead. Marcus, feeling reflective, gazed out at the receding planet, his thoughts intertwining with the stars streaking by. The shuttle was filled with chatter, some graduates sharing plans for their immediate future, others reminiscing about the moments that had defined their time at the academy. Marcus engaged in these conversations with a genuine interest, knowing that the connections made here were not just for the duration of their studies, but could last a lifetime. Tyla, sitting beside him, was returning to Ferrix to apply her newly acquired knowledge in environmental science. You know, Marcus, I think I'll miss this. Our discussions, the projects, Even the crises, she said, her colors softly shifting in the dim light of the shuttle. I'll miss it too, Marcus admitted. But I'm excited about what comes next. We're going out there with a chance to apply what we've learned to make a difference. As the shuttle approached the rendezvous point with the interstellar transport that would take them to their respective home planets, the reality of farewell loomed larger. Marcus and his friends gathered their belongings and exchanged contact data, promising to stay in touch and support each other's careers, regardless of the distance. We should plan a reunion, Skrill suggested, stretching his tentacles in a gesture of finality. Maybe on a neutral planet, somewhere central. See what everyone's accomplished. That sounds like a great idea, Marcus agreed, his voice tinged with a mix of nostalgia and hope. It would be amazing to see how far we've all come. As they disembarked the shuttle and transferred to their respective transports, heartfelt goodbyes were exchanged. Hugs, handshakes, and even a few traditional farewell gestures from other cultures marked these final moments. Marcus felt a surge of gratitude for each of his peers, aware that their shared experiences had forged bonds that were unique in their strength and diversity. Boarding his transport, Marcus found a window seat, settling in for the long journey back to Earth. He watched as his friends' ships departed one by one, each heading towards a different corner of the galaxy. The sight was a powerful reminder of the vastness of their universe and the interconnectedness of their lives, despite the physical distances that would now separate them. As the transport engaged its warp drive, Marcus pulled out a digital pad to jot down some thoughts and ideas for his first initiatives upon returning home. His mind buzzed with plans to advocate for more interstellar educational exchanges and to integrate the diverse perspectives he had encountered into Earth's approach to galactic diplomacy. The stars blurred into lines of light as the transport sped through the cosmos, and Marcus felt a deep, quiet confidence settling in. He was returning home not just as a graduate but as a new link in the chain of interstellar relations, ready to contribute to a future where understanding and cooperation transcended boundaries.